Hi, Chris Adams here from Untangled Pearls. Okay, so our pattern that Pam picked this month was the Patriotic Shawl. It's a pattern that I wrote. It's based off of another pattern, so I'm not going to say I'm too original with it. I just adapted a little bit, put beads on it instead of white stitches, and just a couple little minor things. Last year, I made it out of the Rowan's Summer Light 4-ply, which is a fingering weight yarn. This year I decided to change it up a little bit. I'm going to use my new favorite, which anybody that's been watching my moon wake and my top hat, is the Soft Yak DK. I'm doing the Faded Glory colorway. I figured it'll be a little bit bigger because it's a DK instead of a fingering. But that's okay because it's not that big of a shawl to start out with. And the Soft Yak will feel great on my neck. I'm going to teach you just some minor quick techniques when it's going to be the knit front and back stitch, how to put the beads on, or at least how I put the beads on, and how to carry yarn up the side when you're changing the colors for all the stripes. So give me a minute, I'll be right back with you. Okay, so I've been putting on a few stitches. I'm going to go over real quick what a knit front and back is. I'm on the wrong side right now. And as you can see, I have my pattern up on my Knit Companion. If everybody joined that class the other day, it was great, our online class for it. So I'm going to get back over here. I'm on a wrong side row right now, so I have to knit to the end, knit to the last 2 stitches, and then I'm going to knit front and back. So there's my last 2 stitches. I'm going to knit front and back. Knit front and back means you knit like you normally go into the stitch through the front loop. Loop around like you're going to knit. Pull it out, but do not take this off yet. Come around with this needle almost like a figure 8 and go into the back loop. Knit, and that creates 2 stitches out of 1. Then I'm going to knit my last one. Now I'm going to be on the right side, and you can see how the angle starts. Everything's growing this way. All right. So this is my right side row. So on my right side row, I'm going to knit front and back first. So I'm going to knit in the front, just like a normal knit. Pull it out. Don't take it off. Figure 8, bring it back around, back through the back loop. And now I made, now I made 2 stitches out of that one. And then I'm going to knit across. All right, give me 1 second, and I'm going to show you how to do that continental-wise. Awesome. So on the right side, when you come to the end, you're going to knit 2 together. So on the pattern, if you look, you're going to repeat rows. It'll tell you which rows you have increases and which rows you don't. And it'll tell you how many increases you're going to have on there. So on the right side, you have no increases because you knit the last 2 together. So you did an increase here, but you decreased it there, so you're at a net 0. All right, so now if I'm coming back, okay, I'm going to do this continental. There we go. So I'm on the way back, I'm going to knit all the way down to the last 2 stitches. And it's the same thing. Going to knit into the front of the loop, front of the stitch, come around like figure 8. Now go into the loop on the back side, knit that, pull it off. There's the 2 stitches out of 1 stitch, and we're done. So that is your basic knit front and back. That's how you're doing your increases in this now. Okay, so now I'm getting back when I'm getting ready, well, not really, but I'm going to go ahead and do it, where we're going to show you how to do the bead. All right, so when I start the star section, the first stitch is the knit front and back like it's been this whole time. Okay, and then it says knit 2, and then it says bead. When I said bead, I want you to knit it. Oops, I need to do 2 things. You can use a really, really tiny crochet hook, or this is called a knit pick. Okay, you can check the shop. We might be having some in. Okay, so watch your beads. They do go all over the place. So I kind of preload. So now the bead is actually on here. So now, bring this back around. I did my knit front and back. I knitted 2. I just knitted this one, and I'm going to take it off. and I'm going to pull, and I'm going to grab, whoops, excuse me. I'm going to flip it, and I'm going to pull the bead right up through. Now I'm going to put that loop right back on and go. All right, then I'm going to knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to switch hands, so I'm doing it right-handed so everybody can see. Okay, let me grab another bead real quick. We have all the beads for you and everything too. Okay, so you do it one of two ways. Make sure you preload this. Find the little hole. Sometimes it's a little tight. There we go. You can either knit the stitch like this, come like this, grab it, slide it off. Let that little flipper flip down, it kind of holds the yarn in place, and then pull it through, and then just slip it right back on with that little hole. Slip it right back on. Okay. That'll place the bead, and it's pretty much where you can see it on both sides, which I kind of like that look, that it's on both sides, and then you'll just continue to knit again. Now, if you want to, you can also, I'll show you, sometimes, it depends on my mood and how coordinated I was. Again, sometimes instead of knitting with this needle like you normally would knit, I would actually knit with this. I would go in and grab it, go like this, pull it through, and slide it on, so I didn't have to do an extra step. But it usually took me a couple of beads in before I was doing that. So that's how simple it is to bead. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can watch this video again, but all you're doing is knitting the stitch and then pulling the stitch through with this. You can use a small crochet hook or this. I'll be back with you in just a minute, and I will show you how to carry some yarn up the side. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a little bit about carrying up the yarn up the sides. Now, if you want, you can break your colors each time you change, and you can weave them in. Now, because it's a quick 4-row repeat on the stripes, or at least mine, if you're doing the larger one where you're doing 16 rows, I wouldn't carry it up the side, but on this you could. Take the color you just finished. I just finished knitting with the red. Bring it to the front and pull the white, or in my case the faded glory off color, to the top, and now knit. So you're always going to bring, I'm going to knit this 4 rows, and we're going to do it again. So there's my knit front back. I'm going to knit across. So you're always taking the color that you just finished with, and you're dropping it to the front of the other. There we go. Let's get to the end. This is my right side row, so I knit the last 2 together. There's no increase on here. I did it knit front and back in the beginning. On my wrong side row, I knit the 2 before, and then I do a knit front back. Wrong side row, knit all the way to the end. The 2 stitches before, knit front and back, knit 1. Okay, so I want to keep carrying that red up. So I'm going to take the white. I got 2 more rows to do with it. I'm going to bring it in front, bring it around, so it picks up and carries that red up the side. But it'll keep it towards the back of the work. It won't show it as much on the front. Now this is my right side row. All right, so see how it's grabbed that red? It's kind of locked it in. I'm going to knit front and back. If I get my hands to work. Now I'm going to knit it. I'm doing it English style this time. This is my right side row. So the knit front and back at the beginning, and there's the knit 2 together at the end. very end, knit 2 together. That's my right side. My wrong side is knit all the way to the end, to the last 2 stitches, then I knit front and back and knit 1. I'm going to drop the color I just finished to the front. I picked this one up at the back. Okay. I did my 4 rows. I got my 2 ridge lines, 4 rows. Okay, each garter ridge. All right, and now I'm going to start with my next color. All right, but the yarn, this went to the front. This comes up the back. So in between, when you're getting ready to start row, you can feel it a little loose there, but that's because that isn't pulled. I'm going back to Continental, so I'll be a little quicker. Just remember between when you go to start the 3rd row of the color, to still wrap that the color you're not using. Make sure you go in front of it and around the back of it. I'll show you a second. Still got 2 more rows of the red, but I want to carry up the white, or in my case the faded white. So I'm going to still drop it to the front and then wrap it and pull it up. So see how you can see it's pulling up. And now I'll do the second 2. So you'll just have a little bit of carry on the back side, but on the front side you really won't see it. Okay, I hope you enjoy this pattern. I think I'm going to enjoy my soft yak with my Faded Glory. Oh, and by the way, because I used the Faded Glory, I don't know if I remember if I told you, I did up my needle size to a size 7, being I was using DK rather than fingering. Happy knitting!